This morning, I was waking up and wondering what I'd like to speak to you about, where we could have a meaningful conversation for whoever shows up. And so today, that was the words I heard in my head: is how are you showing up? Welcome to the real day 19 for the manifesting challenge. I need a sip today. Well, I went to the Zoom meetings that I had already set up for this coffee chat. Well, they were all gone. So welcome to Mercury retrograde. This morning, I was waking up and wondering what I'd like to speak to you about, where we could have a meaningful conversation for whoever shows up. And so today, that was the words I heard in my head: is how are you showing up? And quite honestly, I was barely awake, barely had my feet flat on the floor. And I heard those words, and I was already starting to talk myself out of showing up here for this coffee Q&A if nobody showed up. I figured I was just going to close it and go back to bed or something. I was trying to talk myself out of the walk that was a lot cooler today. So I don't know what was going on for me. Maybe I'm a little bit fatigued, and quite honestly, but I was reflecting on that in terms of this manifesting challenge and how are we showing up in our day-to-day experience? How are we showing up for our commitment to ourself? And I heard the voice say, "No, Amirah, you promised yourself. You promised yourself you were going to do this. You promised the world that you were going to show up." And I am showing up. There's no question. But whether or not I was going to stay and hang out for too long, well, that remains to be seen, right? I can change the rules anytime. However, the bottom line was I committed to me. I'm committing to my one incredible thing. I'm committed to you and holding the space, encouraging you, being here to answer questions to help you maximize your time in your commitments to yourself. And so in terms of manifesting, I think that's a vital ingredient to whether or not we actually fulfill our goals or manifest them. And I'm not focusing on my specific one incredible thing with every step I take throughout the day, but it's my energy level. Am I committed? If you say you're going to be there and do the meditation for yourself every single day for 15 minutes, are you showing up? How are you showing up when you reach out to other people? When you go to the grocery store, when you're parking your car, what emotions are you sending into the universe? What thoughts are you sending out? The other day I got an email from someone, and quite honestly, I didn't print it out. I could easily show you. And this was from somebody that I have never had an exchange with. And this person said, "Off, fraud." And I was like, wow, that's an interesting comment. And honestly, I didn't react much more than that. Now, in the past, that would have turned me inside out and upside down and perhaps had a meltdown. I'm not sure. But I thought, well, this is interesting. And I was somewhat amused because I know that's not the truth about me. And so am I showing up as a fraud to others? Well, what's going on in their world? How they see me is a whole thing that I can't control, right? And so I realized that this person was going through a really tough time. I searched their name on my database to see who are they? And so sure enough, they had reached out to contact me back in March. They had seen me on a video podcast. And for some reason, my system doesn't, if you just reach out to me, it shows somebody signed up for the meditation, or it signed up for the one incredible thing, or whatever. It doesn't show the comment. So I did some digging and I found the comment that he led, and it turns out this person was very depressed. And I guess he took it upon himself to think that I didn't care about him, or because I didn't respond, that I'm a total fraud. So that was too bad that he interpreted it that way, and it's unfortunate that I missed that message. But just to know that his interpretation of me and my interpretation of myself, or the circumstances that created those impressions, were based on miscommunication or a misinterpretation. So how we see ourselves and how are we showing up, and are we consistent with what's in our heart and our intentions? And of course, we're not perfect. Nobody's going to show up perfectly all the time, but we can course correct when we're like, I had to course correct myself this morning when I had that moment of really not feeling like going for the walk, right? And when other people don't show up for themselves after I'm, it drives me nuts. But at the same time, I can't control all the circumstances, can I? I can just keep forging forward, showing up, being there in the best way I know. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's okay too. And so having that neutral emotional state, to not be attached or making our perception and the way we interpret something make it real. So we get to decide how we're interpreting our situation and our perceptions, and we can change our perception of what that reality is. And I think that's really important as we do this process of the live trainings that, I have going. So please jump in when you can be on those live calls. I know the timing doesn't work for everybody. I understand that. The replays are vitally important to practice, be consistent, commit to yourself, dive in. I realize that how we're seeing things is critical. Are you looking for signs of validation that you're doing the right thing? We talked about that in the coffee challenge yesterday, and I spoke a little bit about that in day 1 for week 3. How are we seeing the signs and synchronicities? I'm a master at signs. I'm a master at synchronicities. I'm a master at manifesting what I want, but that requires me to stay committed to me and my focus on my energy, my commitment to the practice, my commitment to being different, creating something different, and relishing, enjoying, and celebrating the wins along the way, the shifts, the differences that I'm seeing. The little incremental ones, those matter, really, they really do. So somebody was sharing with me the other day, gee whiz, I'm not having as many nightmares this week, or I'm sleeping longer and I'm actually feeling rested. And one lady shared how she was actually making her long commute actually enjoyable. And she couldn't believe her long commute was the time. It felt like it was maybe a 20-minute commute versus an hour and 20 minutes, right? So yeah, looking for those things help us to see things different. That affects our visualization. Somebody was sharing with me that they couldn't visualize, that they were challenged with the guided practices. They couldn't see the symbols or the rows or what I was talking about. So can you see this? Can you see this coffee cup? Okay, great. Now close your eyes. Just close your eyes and visualize that coffee cup. And if you can't see my coffee cup that I just showed you, go ahead and open your eyes again and take another look at it. There it is. Right? Do you have to know that if I showed it to you like this, you wouldn't see the handle, would you? That doesn't mean it's not there, right? So again, it's our perception. But just focus on and practice visualizing that thing. The thing I use often when I'm working with my long-term students in our mentoring and my intuitive mastery, the clairvoyant training, focus on a rose. You can see the roses behind me. Let's bring it forward. See, it helps to go get yourself a rose. If you can't see this rose, one rose, or you can see the whole bouquet, visualize it. You can see me holding it. Now close your eyes and visualize that entire bouquet. If you can't see the bouquet, focus on one rose. They smell beautiful, by the way. What helps is to go buy yourself a rose. One rose. You don't have to buy the whole bouquet. And watch that rose every single day. Watch how the rose changes. Watch when it's a bud and it slowly starts to open. Watch when it starts to close down. If you get one of those roses that just never quite opens and the bud just flips down, just observe that. Notice how you can see that in your mind. That's one of the techniques that I use in practicing and developing our clairvoyance. And it's a powerful tool because we can then use that as a meter or a symbol to what our subconscious is trying to tell us. That's how I use the roses. So I hope that helps you today. If nothing else, feeling like you deserve to have a rose and just observing the rose will actually help you focus your visualization and helping you to see the changes, the minute small changes over, let's say, a week's time. Those little impressions are registering in your mind. It's that aspect to yourself, your clairvoyance, your ability to see on the inside. That's what clairvoyance is. And you're all using it. You just might not know how you're doing it. So if you can close your eyes and visualize something, maybe you can visualize how you feel achieving your one incredible thing. Visualize how you feel, let's say your relationship's not going so well. Before you get out of your car and go into the house, visualize how you would like to see your exchange with your kids or your partner. Just visualize how you want the evening to go, how you want yourself to feel. Okay? So those are ways that we can practice using our visualization, actually changing the energy and stepping in, sort of creating ahead of time that quantum field and coming into alignment with it. Those feelings and your visualizations are key. Those are like magnetic poles to each other, and they will magnetically draw to you the things that you desire. So that's why it's so important to focus on what we want to create, not what we don't want to create, and the whole underlying reason why we are doing these exercises, why I'm guiding you through the practices, so we can wipe it out, all that unconscious energy, those unconscious thoughts, those unconscious emotional baggage that we're hauling around that no longer is useful. We're cleaning it out. We're cleaning it out so that you can just open like a beautiful rose and a light to shine bright. Okay? So, hey, I'm going to finish my coffee here. It's lovely connecting with you today. Please share your comments below, what you're noticing different in your manifesting challenge. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the live calls every night this week. Here's to magic.